Hello, Jamie Rodgers here from Creative Expressions, and today we are looking at Sue Wilson's StampCuts. These are a game changer. This is a type of die which has been coated with a special medium so that when we go over them with inks, we can stamp and die cut with them in one pass through your machine. So no longer do you have to try and stamp your image, then line your die up with it and send it through. These have the most beautiful designs, and in one pass through your machine you can cut it and stamp it. They're a game changer, honestly, they're just incredible. So what I've done is I've taken the butterfly die, I've put it down on top of my die cut plate, I've put a piece of paper underneath, and I've used a black ink pad to just pad across the top of the actual die and coat that protective film that's been placed over the die with the ink, and that's the bit that's holding on to the ink and transferring it as it goes through the machine from the die itself onto the card, hence the name StampCuts. As I say, stamping and cutting in one pass through your machine. Now we're going to move on to a different style of ink pad this time. We're going to use one of the Make Art ink pads designed by Wendy. These are a lovely blending dye based ink pad which are very inexpensive compared to several other brands, and I love these. I use these quite a lot. So I'm just going to take my ink over again, place it all over the top of the actual StampCuts die, and I'm sending this through the machine again with a piece of white cardstock on top. Now I'm showing you these with white cardstock. Think of all the colour combinations you could be doing, all the speciality papers you could be doing this onto, the different inks and mediums that you have that you like to stamp with. Give them all a go. I am yet to find an ink that I cannot use with these StampCuts. I've really got on incredibly well with them. Now I'm going to bring in the Hydrangea. This time I'm going to do something slightly different. Instead of placing any ink on top of the stamp cut, I'm just going to cut this out of black cardstock. Now I've placed on top a piece of white paper, which is a tip I've picked up from Sue Wilson. The white card will actually push down on the black card and push it into all of the gaps on the die, so I've got a deeper embossed effect. If you've got a tan mat or a rubber mat, you can absolutely do that as well, but I do quite like using up my pieces of spare cardstock to do this with as well. Now the spare part, the white one that went through, that actually embossed quite nicely, so I've used my purple ink and I've rubbed that over the top of it just to give an idea. For the black one, because that's got real deep embossing on it, I'm going to bring in some Gilded Touch. Now this is one of our Cosmic Shimmer products. It's a recently new one. We've done 2 or 3 videos on these already, including an introduction video, so if you want to know more about them you can go and see that video, or all the other ones giving you different top tips with them. But I'm going to use the warm gold, and I'm just using this on my finger. I'm sticking to a roughly circular motion, and I'm moving this lovely water-based gilding wax across the top of the card, just highlighting all of them really lovely deep embossed areas. I think this could look really nice if you was to add in a couple of different colours onto that as well, and with 10 shades in Gilded Touch you've certainly got the variation to play around with. Now another idea we can do with these is very similar, but what we're going to do this time is we're going to cut this out of gold mirror card. Now I am a big fan of mirror card. I love mirror card stock, so gold is one of my go-to colours. I use that probably the most, and I've gone ahead and I've cut this out. I've put a piece of copy of paper or spare card, on top once again, so it's pushed in and embossed that really nicely. Now to me, you could leave that as it is depending on the card you're doing, but if you want to add more to it, bring in a Stazon ink pad. I'm using a black ink pad and I'm just lightly brushing this over the top. If you've got a little bit more time and you want it to be slightly more crisp, apply your ink using a brayer, and then that way the felt part of the ink pad won't seep into any of the holes because the brayer will be a bit firmer as it goes over the top. This is the finished result that you can create, and I think that's gorgeous. You can also heat emboss these too, so if you wish to stamp with a Versamark or a Perfect Medium and then apply our detailed embossing powders from Cosmic Shimmer over the top, you will end up with a really lovely effect. Here I'm just sharing with you a few more of the designs Sue Wilson has already released. To me it's hard to pick a favourite, but I will be honest, we are coming up to the poinsettia and I absolutely love this one. The detail work that has been put into all of the petals and leaves is absolutely breathtaking. But to be honest, it is hard to pick a favourite. There's so many here that I want to play around with, and they're great for your borders, your corners, and easy to colour as well, because Sue's actually added little shaded areas to them, so you know where to colour as well. All of the products I've shared with you today are of course available from all good Creative Expressions stockists. Thank you very much for watching. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye for now.